So Cole is basically saying, treat it like a preseason type of game. Get your guys some work. Let him get hit a couple times and then get him out.
I think so. But you added the extra layer before the break about the Rams, like the team that you're playing. And Cola has also mentioned the Rams are playing better than most teams in the NFL, certainly in the NFC. So you already have a division opponent, and those games are generally kind of wonky, even though the Niners have won a bunch in a row. So how do you approach it from a Rams perspective? Like, the Niners want to rest their players, and so do the Rams, because they don't get a week off, and they're going to have to travel first week of the postseason for the wild card. But do you want to show the Rams anything? Do you really care? How does Shanahan look at McVay? The opposite? I mean, the Rams are a team that I wouldn't want to play in the NFC. I think they're playing better football than most, but I wouldn't be afraid of them if they matched up with the 49ers in the postseason.
All right, I'll give you your choice of 4. You can play the Rams and treat it like a regular game with all your guys, and you lose or you win. You can do either. Or you play with all your Scribinis, God love you, and you win or you lose. Is there anybody that cares about, if you lose with your backups, does it really matter? I guess is what I'm saying. Or if you play your guys even a half and you get beat, does that worry? I mean, don't you want to also stay away from having your big boy team that you think is going to win, think's going to make a run in the postseason, just get derailed? Not derailed. That's a terrible word because that makes it sound like it's over. But let's say the 49ers play Purdy and everybody except Christian McCaffrey, they'll lose 28-20. Does that matter at all?
I mean, to me, best case scenario is you win while playing your Scribinis. But if they lose, I don't think that makes much of a difference to me either. And I don't think Shanahan, from a play calling perspective, I also don't think Shanahan is going to really save anything. I don't think he saved anything against Baltimore. Just didn't go his way. The team didn't play very well. His quarterback had some untimely turnovers, and you lost. The Rams, and this is the other part too, if you're telling me Kyle Shanahan's got 3 weeks or even 2 weeks to scheme up a whole crock pot of offensive brilliance, I don't really think he's going to worry about showing anything in the last week of the regular season that he hasn't already shown before. The Niners are a machine. They're good because Kyle Shanahan's a great play caller, but they're good because they got better players than the other team. Like on offense, if you have all your players, you pretty much got to pick your poison. And I think there are very few teams with the personnel to match up with the 49ers. I think the Ravens are one of the few. The Browns are one of the few. I don't see many teams in the NFC that have the ability to play defense for offense with the 49ers. And the reason why the 49ers, in my opinion, should be Super Bowl favorites is because in the NFC, they got an easier path than anybody in the AFC. Those teams are going to beat up on each other on the other side, and you're only going to have to beat one of them.
Can I push back on that a little bit?
Please do.
All right, the AFC, Baltimore. They're legit.
They are.
Who else?
I mean, look,
who else?
If you got Patrick Mahomes,
okay.
I think you got a chance.
I'll give you half.
The Chiefs.
Okay.
Miami, people like.
They're beatable.
They are beatable.
Okay.
Dallas.
Who else?
Buffalo.
No.
Why not?
I'll tell you exactly why not. Your boy locked in on them over the weekend.
Who's?
Me. They are going.
Why are they going nowhere?
I'll tell you why.
Because they can't run the ball.
No, I'll tell you. Well, they can't because they don't give it to James Cook enough.
Well, if they beat Miami this weekend, Sonny, they win the AFC East.
It's all well and good, but neither of those teams are going to make the Super Bowl.
1-4 in a row.
Here, I know they have, and in fact, let me tell you. People out there talk about the eye test, and they're right. They're right. I'll tell you why. Saw some highlights over the last month. Yeah, you're right. Buffalo won 3 in a row, and you know what? And I got snookered. I saw some highlights. I'm saying, hey, you tell you what, Buffalo's gonna need to be dealt with. But you know what? I watched all 4 quarters of their game this past week, and they won, and they stunk. Buffalo, Pretender. You heard it here.
What about Cleveland with your boy, Joey Bullets?
Cleveland's better than Buffalo. I'll tell you that right now. But here's what I'm rejecting. I'm rejecting now that the AFC's better than the NFC. I think we've got two teams at the top of each conference that are big boys, the Niners and the Ravens. And then guess what? There's about 6 other teams jumbled in there. Eagles, Cowboys. I'll throw the Lions in there. Why not? Browns, Buffalo. Put Buffalo in there.
So right now, the Dallas Cowboys, Detroit Lions, Philly, they all have the same record. Cowboys have the 2 seed. Lions will have the 3 seed.
Who's the third best team in the NFL right now?
The third best team in the NFL?
Yeah.
I think they're in the AFC.
Well,
I would say either Cleveland, Miami, or Buffalo. I still think the Chiefs have problems, but
really? Oh, I thought your number 3 was going to be the Chiefs. Automatic, just because of what they've done.
They got issues. Well, okay, what they've done in the past, but you talk about this all the time, and I think it's true. What you did in the past matters to an extent, but I'm betting on the Chiefs in 2023-24. I'm not betting on the 2022-23 Chiefs. Okay,
correct. So here's my question to anybody, football fans, Niner fans, 888-957-9570. I think most, if you were to ask football fans, who are your two, who's going to make the Super Bowl? I got to believe, there'll be an outlier of a few that want a surprise, but 90% of people out there are saying Baltimore, San Francisco. Would you agree with that?
That's the collision course that seems most probable.
Right, and I'm not talking about somebody who may think that, go Cleveland, that's fine. But most people, hey, you have to bet $1,000. You have to. You have no choice. Give me the 2 teams that are making the Super Bowl. Okay, Baltimore, San Francisco.
Yeah.
All right. Who would be the most likely team to get to the Super Bowl outside of those 2? I think that one is the coin flip of coin flips among like 8 teams. I really do.
Well, you've already labeled the Bills a pretender, so they're done.
Well, no, but they are a pretender. But what I'm saying is the Bills can't get. Okay, here's what I'm saying. So you got the 2 best teams right now, 49ers and Ravens.
Yep.
Okay, now I'm lumping in the following teams: Philly, Detroit, Dallas, Buffalo, even though they're pretenders, but I have to because they won 4-0. Buffalo, Miami, and there's a team I'm forgetting in the AFC.
Cleveland? Or Kansas City? Yeah,
Cleveland and Kansas City.
Yeah.
Cleveland and Kansas City.
Yeah, so there's like 7 teams, 8 teams right now that I think believe they can win a Super Bowl. And to me, and this is actually why I cannot wait for the NFL playoffs this year, because every team has a flaw. Even Baltimore. Like, what? I know that they've played the best of any team in the league.
What is it?
The Baltimore? They're banged up.
Oh, okay.
Like, they're injured. Now, they've been able to overcome that, and I think that's the reason why a lot of people love them or like them, is because they've won without their starting tight end. They've won without one of their cornerbacks. They've won at times without defensive linemen. They've won without a true number 1 wide receiver. But in the postseason, what you have or what you don't have is usually the reason why you get beat. And also, you can say that Lamar Jackson has 3 one-and-dones in the postseason. So, I mean, to me, Baltimore is the best team in the NFL right now, but you could even nitpick them, just like the way you nitpick the Niners is, well, they've ransacked every team, but the moment a game doesn't go their way, they haven't been able to dig themselves out of a hole, or they haven't been able to battle adverse situations and overcome consistently. It's only happened a few times, but that's the playoffs. If it happens once, you're done. So, there's issues, there's a litany of issues with all the teams we're talking about here, and that's why if we're talking about the third best team,
yeah,
I would probably lean Cleveland, because I like their defense, but Miami's also shown that they can run the ball. Now, they just lost their star pass rusher, Bradley Chubb, to an ACL. Buffalo, I think, has the best quarterback outside of Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson in the AFC. And then in the NFC, I mean, I still like Dallas, because I think Dak is better than Jalen Hurts and Jared Goff.
888-957-9570 is the number. Matt Steinmetz along with Evan Giddings. Guru back tomorrow. Happy New Year to everybody out there. A couple Bay Area teams going in different directions. You got the Warriors. They've lost 3 in a row. They play the Orlando Magic tonight. You can hear all the action on 95.7 The Game, starting with Warriors Live at 6 o'clock with Evan Giddings. Tip-off at 7. 49ers, on the other hand, they beat Washington 27-10. They bounced back from their loss against the Baltimore Ravens. They are the number 1 seed in the NFC, and will have that for the entire playoffs. So what do you do week 18 if you're Kyle Shanahan in terms of rest, who plays, how much, how conservative do you want to be? We're talking about the fact that the opponent is the LA Rams, a team you might be playing in 2 or 3 weeks, regardless of the outcome on Sunday. Does that matter at all? Does that have to even be factored in by Kyle Shanahan? In other words, no matter what he decides, is there some point in his preparation where somebody will say, and we might play him in a couple weeks, Kyle, and then what does that mean?
I mean, I think that means less than their familiarity with each other already. I mean, McVay knows Shanahan probably as good as any head coach, and vice versa.
Right.
I mean, Kyle Shanahan has had McVay's number in the regular season. The record speaks for itself, and the only time they've played in the postseason, the Rams got the better of them. So this is a very different 49ers team. They got a different quarterback. They got more veterans. They got more experienced players. They've got players that have already been to a Super Bowl, and the history of the Niners 1 seed would tell you that they're probably going to make a deep postseason run to at least the NFC Championship. And if the Rams play the Niners, I don't know. I think that the Rams have everything that on paper you would want in a Super Bowl contender. You got a championship head coach. You got a Hall of Fame defensive player. You got, on any given week, a top 5, top 10 quarterback. You got 2 number 1 receivers. You got a great running game. But, and you're playing your best football at the end of the season. So I think that's why people consider them really scary.
Sure.
I don't think the 49ers would be scared of them if they had to host them in a divisional round game. Even if it's the first playoff game they play, and whatever you make of the rust is up to you. I don't think they'd be scared.
Going to be interesting. Let's go to Dougie. Dougie's in I'm Going to Wichita. You ever hear that song?
Yes, sir.
White Stripes?
Wichita.
White Stripes? 7 Nation Army couldn't hold me back. You've never heard that song?
You got me on that one, brother.
I'm going to Wichita. A 7 Nation Army couldn't hold me back. You've never heard that song? All right. Yeah. It's not the first verse.
Yeah.
But all right, go ahead, Dougie. Sorry.
Hey, guys.
Yeah.
So if I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm looking at it like, Trent Williams has that groin issue that's been bugging him.
Yep.
And him getting him right. That's my number 1. My number 2, CMC. We'll get that calf right. We're going to get that extra week, get him all good to go for the playoff run. And I'm kind of teetering between how much I let Brock play because that stinger issue in the shoulder. It may not be his throwing shoulder, but it's an issue. So I get him some work, but not too much, because on the flip side of that, I do want to get Darnold some meaningful reps. I mean, not for nothing, but we might need him, and we need him to come in knowing that, hey, man, you got this. Beyond that, there's nothing to gain. That doesn't mean the game is meaningless. It just means there's nothing to
That's a
gain.
good point.
We got number 1s locked up. We're going to get rested and rejuvenated. And the Rams, they already know we own them. So, I mean, if they get the win, okay, good, we'll kick your ass next week. Have a good one, guys. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Red and gold till we're dead and cold.
Oh, that's Dougie in Wichita.
I like that one.
I'm kind of with him. No Trent Williams and no there's nothing to really even discuss with McCaffrey. Has he been ruled out yet officially? There's no chance he's playing.
No.
No chance McCaffrey plays.
In fact, I think if it was a playoff game, he might have even finished that game against Washington. But when you have a calf strain, it's just a precautionary thing.
Yeah. By the way, a lot of people are, kind of chiming in on the Comcast business text line saying, if a guy's got an incentive in his contract to play 17 games, listen.
That's true.
Well, it's true, but let's just go back to last year. You remember, was it last year or 2 years ago? Andrew Wiggins had played 81 games, and they asked him to sit out the last game, and he did. They're not taking his 82-game bonus away if he has one. You know what I mean?
Well, not on purpose. Like, they're not saying we're not playing you because we don't want to pay you an extra $250K.
Has Bosa played every game this year? I think he has.
Yeah.
Bosa's not been hurt. So if Bosa has in his contract, okay, if you play 17 regular season games, we're going to give you $500,000. Guess what's going to happen? He's not going to play, and he's still going to get his incentive. Like, Bosa would just say, hit the pike. You can't do that. That would be players' union stuff.
Well, I think what's more likely is players have statistic-laden contracts.
Fair.
So Bosa's at 10.5 sacks. What's going on there? But if
he ain't getting 9.
Well, no, but if he has, it's 12. Like, let's say it's 12.
It's not 12.
It could be.
I'm thinking.
Show me the sub clause where it's not 12.
I'm throwing this one at you. Doesn't McCaffrey have like 1,400 yards?
He's got, yeah.
He could have a 1,500-yard kicker there through the ground. Like that one I could see. 1,500 yards.
Well, that's probably why they left him in with the calf strain before they decided to take him out at the end of the game, because he had to get over 2,000 scrimmage yards, which he did. But it's also like, okay, so Nick Bosa's probably got a first-team clause or second-team clause. I don't know if he has a 3-sack game against the Rams' backup quarterback. Then he might be a first. I don't know. Like, but those are things that players do consider. And Brandon Ayuk's over 1,000 yards again. George Kittle is actually over 1,000 yards for the first time in a long time. And maybe we want to pad the stats a little bit. Dude, Sam Darnold's going to be letting it rip on Sunday. I can tell you that.
This is where, if you're the 49ers management, you look at all that crap incentives and you give it the old Oprah treatment. You get a bonus, and you get a bonus, and you get a bonus. Because if you got close enough in that last game to get it done, you've earned it.